Writing was always something which was really fun for me. Along the way, I started reading a lot of storybooks to them. And all that writing that I would do suddenly turned into children's stories. And I realized I'm having a lot of fun. There was a lot of research involved, and then I wrote the first book. And when I sent it to them, they said, well, we'd like to do this into a series. Would you like to write more books? And I said, that sounds like a good idea. Hi, I'm Natasha Sharma, and I'm a children's book author. And I believe that one of my books, Akbar and the Tricky Traitor, has been made a part of your reading program. I am delighted. Thank you so much. And I really hope that you have as much fun reading it as I did while writing it. One of the questions I was asked by the reading club program was that what got me into writing books for children and how did my journey begin. So I thought I'll jump straight into it. I have till now written 18 books for children. Each one has been different and has its own challenges and has been a lot of fun. Writing is something I did probably from the time of your age. So all the way through I would write poems, I would write stories, and strangely enough, my favorite homework in the world was to get an essay to write. I love to think about how to do the opening and then, how to build the argument in the essay along and the strong conclusion. So writing was always something which was really fun for me. I loved English. My favorite subject in school though was math, and I went on to do math for 3 years in college. And after that, I went and did an MBA, and I worked in companies like Barista and Pizza Hut. So it was a big change back into the world of literature and children's literature. I had my 2 children, and along the way, I started reading a lot of storybooks to them. And all that writing that I would do suddenly turned into children's stories. And I realized I'm having a lot of fun. And when you're having a lot of fun, you don't want to stop having fun, do you? So I got into writing full time. I went and studied it. I attended workshops to improve my own skills and to understand the technical aspects of writing. And that's where my first story called Icky Yucky Mucky began. It actually, it's a story about a Maharaja called Maharaja Icky with terrible table manners. He loves to stuff his face with food and lick his fingers, and then he got married to a Maharani Yucky who nibbles her nails and spits them out all the time, which was really inspired by my childhood because I was a fairly nervous child and I would bite my nails when I was a child, but I don't do that anymore. That was my first book, and since then I've written 18 books. Akbar and the Tricky Traitor that you would be reading is a part of a series called the History Mystery series. There are 5 books in that now, and I am currently writing my 6th book. The History Mystery series began in a really funny way. So I was attending a writing workshop by the publishers of the book, Duckbill, and we were all like, you get assignments in your class. We were given an assignment that day. And the first thing was that we had to pick a genre, that means a style or a category of writing that we had never written in before. So I'd never written historical fiction because the History Mystery series are fiction, even though, they're full of facts, but you read them as a fiction story. So I'd never written historical fiction, and that's what I picked. Now, I didn't know what the next step was going to be. And the Duckbill publishers, they came with the editors, and they came around with this black bag full of little props. And they said, you can't look in, you put your hand into this bag and you pull out whatever you get. And what you pull out is what your story is going to have to be based around. We leave that to you, but it has to feature in the story. So guess what? I put my hand into this bag and I pulled out, not this one, but something very similar to it. I pulled out a sock. Now can you imagine writing a history story, a historical fiction with a sock in it? So I went to them and I said, you really need to help me. What am I supposed to do? And they said, well, a sock goes on a foot. So anything to do with feet or footsteps can feature as an important part in the story. Now, I can't give anything more away because I'm not sure if all of you have read the entire story. But if you have, or when you will, keep in mind that footsteps is something which is fairly important in my story. And that's where I wrote a very short version of the story for the workshop because we had a limited amount of time. I wrote it around Akbar, and the editors came back to me and said, well, we love the story. Would you like to build this into a book? And I said, well, that's a pretty good idea. But what am I supposed to do? Like, should I make it all real? Or can I make a fiction story? Because then I can have a lot more fun with it. I can add mystery to it. I can make my own investigators. And they said, do whatever you want to. Just make sure that whatever facts you put in are correct. So I had to go back and do a ton of research, read lots and lots of books, look up monuments. Fatehpur Sikri, where the book is set, is an actual monument. If you go outside of Agra, you can see it today. So there was a lot of research involved, and then I wrote the first book, and when I sent it to them, they said, well, we'd like to do this into a series. Would you like to write more books? And I said, that sounds like a good idea. So I wrote the second one, Ashoka and the Muddled Messages. And now there are 5. There's one on Raja Chola, which is a really fun one because it's a story set on a sea voyage from the Chola kingdom in India to China, because there was a lot of trade at that time. And along the way, there actually were pirates in the ocean. So it features pirates and all kinds of fun stuff. I then wrote one on Razia and the Pesky Presents. Razia was a female sultan in the Delhi Sultanate. There's one on Shah Jahan. I'm sure you've heard of Shah Jahan. And this one is around his very famous peacock throne, which had the Kohinoor diamond as well as a very important jewel called the Timur ruby. So the story features that. And it's been a wonderful journey, and I keep coming up with new ideas and new things inspire me, and new stories are in the works. So I do hope you keep reading. I hope that you will look at the other history mysteries. And if you'd like to find out more about my books, I also have a website. It's www.natashasharma.in. It has all my books. It has the beginning of many of them, so you can sort of get an excerpt into the stories. So lots of fun things to do. There are also activities there. But do keep reading, and I hope that it is something that stays with you through life, because reading is really what got me to writing. And writing gives me such joy to wake up to every morning. Thank you, and have a lovely, lovely reading day.